It's time to cancel Bill C-10. Justin Trudeau is no stranger to authoritarianism. On the contrary, he said that he admires China's dictatorship.
The level of admiration I actually have for China, because their basic dictatorship is allowing them to actually turn their economy around on a dime and say, we need to go green as fast as we need to start investing in solar.
And it shows in Bill C-10. In case you weren't aware, Bill C-10 is a bill being pushed forward by Liberal Heritage Minister Stephen Guilbeault. If passed, the bill would regulate the internet in Canada and give the government the power to control what you see, say, and consume online. For example, should you say or do something which goes against the vision of the government, the CRTC will then have the capacity to regulate your content. I know that sounds conspiratorial, but the government vision provision is in the actual documents as revealed by Blacklock's reporter. Now, we should probably take one step back and look at what the bill initially was meant to do. According to the initial draft, Bill C-10 was meant to hold large streaming services accountable and force platforms like Netflix and YouTube to pay into the Canada Media Fund and promote Canadian content. Social media users were, however, totally exempt from this regulation. With that said, the Liberals recently decided to remove that exemption for user-generated content. This means you, yes, you, the person watching this video, you are now considered a broadcaster, and everything you do and produce online can then be restricted by the government. So naturally, the removal of this exemption led to countless experts, including the former commissioner for the CRTC itself, to attack the bill, calling it an assault on free speech. Even Google, yes, Google, said they are concerned about the bill. So why did the Liberals remove this exemption and make us all the envy of China and North Korea? Well, nobody seems to know the answer to that question, including the Heritage Minister himself. Here, watch this clip of the minister trying to justify the bill.
I'm going to flip the question for a moment here, Minister, because it was important enough to put that exclusion there in the first place. Now it's gone. Why was it important in the first place to put it there?
We're not interested. I mean, it's not what the bill is about.
I mean, I hear you saying you're not interested, but there literally was an exclusion that was put in the original iteration of that bill, the thing that was reviewed, and then it got to committee, and bingo, bango, bongo, the exclusion is gone. So why was it important to put it there in the first place, such that now the committee has removed it?
Well, I mean, the committee decides what they want. The bill, first of all, the committee hasn't even finished doing its work in terms of the amendments. So we don't have a full picture of what the bill will look like when it comes back to the House of Commons for third reading.
Would you like to see the exclusion back in there?
It's not necessary. I mean, so
if it's not necessary, why was it there in the first place?
Well, we've worked on this for many months. We came up with what we thought would be the best possible bill, but bill can always be perfected. They will be amended, and it's not the purpose of the bill. So it's not required to be there because, I mean, this idea that the CRTC would start doing content moderation has no basis in reality. In its 40 years of existence, it has never done that. It doesn't have the power to do that. Bill C-10 doesn't grant the CRTC the power to do that. So this whole conversation makes no sense.
But a former CRTC chair, Peter Menzies, has said, I'll quote here, granting a government agency authority over legal user-generated content doesn't just infringe on free expression, it constitutes a full-blown assault on it. That is from a former CRTC chair.
And I could quote you. I've spoken 2 weeks ago to an ex-CRTC.
This bill is the greatest infringement of free speech in Canadian history. And while other people will call for a return to the original, I say scrap the bill entirely. Because even in the original version, you're meddling with the free market, forcing Netflix and YouTube to primarily show Canadian content to Canadian audiences. Now, I don't know about you guys, but as much as I don't want to live in a country where the government can control what I can say, I also don't want to live in a country where my only options for entertainment is CBC's 22 Minutes or some other really bad Canadian show. But getting back to the bill, you may be sitting here asking yourself whether this is going to become a reality, or are you just listening to another paranoid freedom lover ranting on the internet? Surely this bill is controversial and unconstitutional, it'll never pass, right? Well, think again, because the Liberals now have enough votes to pass the bill, thanks to the Bloc Québécois, who are excited to censor Canadians who hate poutine. If this bill is the end of my capacity to speak to you and your capacity to engage, then I ask you to join me in a war cry of your fleeting freedom of speech and express how much you dislike this bill. It's time to cancel Bill C-10, and if you agree, share this video and let people know about this. A poll found that while Canadians didn't want this bill, the vast majority of us didn't even know it exists. Please share the word. Do what you can to cherish the freedoms so many of us take for granted. Thank you. If you want to see more, please make sure to subscribe to the Post Millennial. For daily news and content, please go to thepostmillennial.com and consider becoming a member. For $5 a month, you can get rid of all the advertisements on the site. If you like what I'm wearing on my head, you can go to shop.postmillennial.com where we have beanies, mugs, and t-shirts. Please consider supporting the Post Millennial however you can. It's massively appreciated. Thank you.